Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners. Is that what that is that that's one of those Catholic sayings. I always love hearing that stuff. Um it's always like in old school movies, mostly mob related here in the States. Just your Godfather or you know, or my favorite, The Sopranos. I love the mixture there of just uh fine dine, like great food, and just never-ending guilt from the religion you belong to, and the the beauty of traditions and rituals. Um, yeah, I'm was it's funny. I mean, it's cliche again, cliche as you say. Me saying cliche is cliche, but as you get older, you definitely question your life and all of a sudden mortality and um, I'd say after like 30, you get around. To that. You got like an idea of your head of what life's about. You don't know what life's about until you're 30. And even then, you still don't know, but you have like a blueprint in your head, an idea, just an inkling of how things, might go for you at a certain point, and how much of it is your choice of how you got there. And you have to be honest with yourself about that too. Um, but yeah, I was the other night. I was kind of told where I have a really great, heart to heart conversation via bourbon and a couple of beers, of course, about my sometimes the way I talk and the he said it's a really good friend of mine just pointed out um, the offensive things I can say off and on, which I do not really say much. Recording on the recording that I do, I try to hold back as much as possible. Um, but it's always good to have a friend in life um, that is, that can question who you're about as you go on. There's nothing wrong with kind of self reflection and just like checking yourself. Um, the decisions you make or your ideas of how you should be as a man or woman, whatever, what I mean, just as a as a grown ass adult. And this guy, this friend of mine, he's definitely I respect his opinion. And possibly, also any advice you get from somebody, if they're doing well in life, that's the person you want to listen to, not somebody that's in the same shit situation of you or even lower. It makes no sense. I think we can agree with that. But and I'm no um I'm constantly struggling, I in more ways, but like more just financial, which I think that's gonna be a lot of us you know, pretty soon now, the way that the economy is going. You know, even though I might get employed here pretty soon, that uh doesn't mean I'm hot shit. But um anyways, yeah, you should like it's really important to have something like that, and you'll understand when you get older. After you hit your when your 20s are over and you get into your 30s, that's like the difference is like your phone. When you're your mid 20s, uh, your phone's always blowing up. Lots of people like oh man, that's Rick. He can get me like, he can give me free pints over the Lucky Lab, or like, you know, um, oh yeah, I know that's John. He can get me like tickets over at like the Roseland Theater. Like there's a band coming to play. It's just you're constantly maybe like 20 numbers. Hopefully most of them are girls, but like that you're trying to like keep track because you're always out. Like you're having fun. And I get it. But after a 30 gets like after you hit 30, it gets old, and there should be like only five phone numbers, of people that are close to you in life, because it's it makes no sense to do the whole thing again when you get, because it's gonna happen. You just, trust me on this one. It gets for anybody there in their kind of younger years, which I doubt listening right now. But anyways, no, but my good friend was, saying like, why do you some of the stuff you say is so offensive. Like my whole thing is like, yeah, but you were laughing. Yeah, I know, but it's still like, yeah, well, there's a reason for that, and a lot of reasons in life. I mean, I'm sorry, there is a reason why in life. There's always a reason why. But it's that things like this happen, in somebody's, how they come across. But it's all about perception. And again, because this is my good friend, and he was telling me, telling us that because we were just having deep conversation, and I said, "Well, how do you think of me?" It was really this kind of like, you're like a brother to me now. I've known you for like 10 years, been through a lot of shit. I'm happy for you. You have like a solid relationship with this one girl. I hope it goes well, and you know, and he's always been really, really cool, just across the board, and someone that I can like ask for like solid advice, everything from like, uh, where should I get my car fixed to like, maybe a lawyer. No, I mean, not that it's ever happened, but like if I had to, I would go to him seriously. Um, and he was asking me like, he's like, you get offensive sometimes. Like, yeah, but like, I don't think I am. But at the same time, I see people just, numb headed. And if I talk to them normally, they ignore me. And it's like not even, how do I explain this? I always have like a difficulty when I'm trying to record and be relaxed about this, but most of the time I hang out with some friends, they're on their phone's a part of their life right now. So we're like drinking, there's some, smoking going on, and we're outside, and there's just, picnic tables or whatever, just kind of beers or whatever. I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, like this. And just it could be about anything in life, but like they're hearing you, but they're not hearing you. And it's almost like eh, some kind of mental disorder. I don't want to say like on the spectrum shit, but not even that. It's just I think we're just all just like just disconnected or whatever. But if I say something offensive in the moment, it they wake up. And they're like, well, why would you say it like that? I'm like, yeah, but like, and I don't have time to explain to them, because if I explain it, it kills the magic. And but they know my heart's in the right place. That whatever I'm saying, you know, that I'm trying to say something, but like meaningful. And I think it's really important. Now that's my tool in the toolbox. I really don't like using, and I'm not saying like I'm this person, like I say offensive shit like all the fucking time, but I do catch myself saying it, but people will do laugh when I it's like half funny and half offensive. Uh, it kind of reminds me of the great comedian Patrice O'Neill, who passed away in 2011, I believe. If you ever watch a special called Elephant in the Room, which is great, but I don't think this is from that special. He was interviewed one time, and he talked about uh, when he did like performance in front of a crowd, that his what his best perfection of a good set or whatever was when half the crowd was laughing and the other half of the crowd was horrified. He said, "Mwah, that is perfection." Because it's not supposed to be just a fucking, a cat video. It's not supposed to be just mindless, tard like. I mean, without, you know, it, for kids maybe, but not when you're a fucking grown ass adult. It shouldn't be that way. Dad jokes should not be the standard. But anyways, I use that as an analogy. But again, I think I'm very fortunate to have something like that in my life, and you'll find, if you're lucky, you'll find at least one. Two or three helps, but Not really. They're not. I get most of those people like to think they're smart and they have like this great dish out advice. But let's be honest, they read shit off a bumper sticker. That they're not really. It's just it's pretentiousness on like a Chernobyl like level of just if pretentiousness was radiation, it's you got to limit your exposure anyway. But yeah, yeah. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners. That, but I forget how it goes. I love that. I love the Latin part of that one too. With the candles and the whole Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us. The whole saying. I love that shit. There is value to that, and I especially as I get older, I just find it more comforting. It's supposed to be. Yeah, I guess I like the Catholics more because it just seems more like yeah, God shouldn't be all about love. It should be like a chore. I guess that's what you just have to do it. Like back in the day, they had Sunday mass and Sunday school you had to go to. Yeah, the Christian church stuff. It was fun too, but they were too happy. I don't know. I went to an African American church over in North Portland. It was called Maranatha Church a long time ago with my girl who I was seeing at the time. That was we were both not married, so that was sitting. But like her mom and dad were into it. We were young, and like it was an excuse to like kind of wear a little more dressy clothes. Nothing too fancy or whatever. You can actually look pretty decent with a blazer, a tie, and some slacks. You don't need to like spend Armani or style money prices for this shit. You and anyways, but they were. I mean, it's like as soon as we got in, they were singing, and there was like a choir going on, and there was definitely. I mean, I'm being sorry. I'm just being a little sarcastic, kind of joking about like church to be depressing or a chore or whatever. But I see benefits to both, and that's on the Christian side. I mean, you know, um, who knows what those Muslims can do? I don't know. By the way, I could say that I'm half Middle Eastern, so suck on that one. My understanding. Somebody's asked me about this the other night. Like, what's the difference between Catholicism and Christianity? And I think I mean, I'll be way off on this, probably not way off, but I have a general idea. So don't kill me if I get it totally wrong. But Catholics usually believe they worship the Virgin Mary, or they pray to the Virgin Mary, and many other saints and sainthoods, uh, to which is like kind of like a basically the conduit to God. So from what I understand, when you go to church, I've only been a couple of times to a Catholic church for mass during a Christmas mass or whatever, like a Polish church or whatever, just to kind of had some friends of mine that wanted to do that, so I went with them, and um, the priest is the one that's giving the sermon, and and basically you're supposed to uh, listen to him make a sermon, and not much. I mean, Christian church is the same thing too, but my basic understanding of that was you're praying to actual dead people like saints in the past, and also I believe certain nuns like um uh was it a mother like Mother Teresa like that one. That was yeah. Anyways, but like and also the like Virgin Mary, which is not exactly it's yeah, it's kind of like again, it's kind of like this a buffer zone. I don't know, but with the Christian belief, it's more about you have a relationship with God Himself. There is no, it's like supposedly almost wickedness to pray to somebody other than God Himself, and then it just goes on and on. The different catechisms of, or I mean, just the different sects of Christianity. You got your Mormonism, Jehovah's Witnesses, Lutherans, Protestants, a lot of this, I'm not even really familiar with any of this shit as it is. It's kind of religion, but uh, the irony is that my dad is um, he's from Iran originally, so a Muslim country, Shiite to be exact, which I'm not really familiar with how that works out. I think there was like the Prophet Muhammad, and there's like Sunnis and Shiites. One's a descendant direct, or I don't know. It doesn't matter. Um, and the most people with most as I was kind of growing up with my brother and I, um, that was kind of like we'd always get asked, are we, did your dad ever like try to press Islam on you? And the answer was not really, no. Um, he asked us if we were curious, maybe like a handful of times in our life when we were younger, and just didn't really care, didn't really get it. We also knew how hot topic of a issue Iran has always, been pretty much my entire life, just because of the revolution and this, the republic they have over there. They're very um, authoritarian style government through religion, and you know, probably even pre 9/11 when it was like, when it was like sexy to be a terrorist, I guess, before it was cool. The way that Ma used to make, no, but seriously, even before that shit, 9/11, like, I do remember when 9/11 happened, it was not like when I woke up in an apartment, unemployed. I was starting a new job the following day over in Tualatin, good old Tualatin, fucking prison. Uh, and just like seeing I didn't even know where the World Trade Center was. I mean, it was New York, but it was like, oh, there's these two huge skyscrapers, and being taken down. It was just like kind of like one thing after another. It was obviously a bad day, but um, just trying to figure out who had done it. And it, I mean, I was young, but I had a hint like, oh shit, this is probably gonna be on my dad's side of the family. Not like be Iranian, but they're gonna be Muslims. Let's just be honest. It's just not, the odds are really kind of high. Although at the time, I do remember feeling like it could have gone either way, because the only terrorist shit that I remember before 9/11 was mostly white guy shit. Like there was the Oklahoma City bombing, there was Waco, um, Ruby Ridge. So, and then of course there was the first time World Trade Center bombing in '93. People always forget about that. The original always supersedes the sequel, but I mean surpasses. But like people always forget about that. The conspiracy theorists out there, like, it's controlled demolition, man. Building 7. I'm like, come on. Like, by the way, if I ever do a punk band or whatever, or name a rock band, it'll be called Controlled Demolition. But like, people always like forget about that. Like, yeah, 12 people died in '93 when they like filled a Ryder truck or I think a van or whatever in the basement of the World Trade Center, and like it killed 12 people, yeah, something like that. People died, but obviously it wasn't like the big one. Um, anyways, uh, yeah, there is that side of things. I went way off grid there on a tangent, but on my mom's side of the family, if anything religion came, that was the real hardcore um, religious side of things, and that was my mom's side of the family is from the South. So she was from a place called Benton, Kentucky, and so was my grandmother, her mom, obviously. And I was born in Tennessee. And so, other than maybe a handful of months, we moved out later, and I don't know anything about the South. But grandmother did move, eventually came with us when my brother and I were a little older. I'd say like, 8, 9, 10 years old. And this woman was a trip. This woman was, um, yeah, like a believer. Like, I'm trying to put like a setting on this one. Um, Whenever my brother and I, or the family and I, went over to her house, there were multiple Bibles. Most people just have their one Bible. She had multiple ones, and they were also uh, like marked. They had like bookmarks sticking out of it, and within each one of them, there was like a yellow Sharpie highlighting different passages and stuff like that. And you know, um, but yeah. And before I go any further, for people out there, it was like, you know, I don't want to believe in God. Yeah, I'm an atheist, man. I just believe. Like, shut the fuck up, all right? Like, look, good. You don't believe. That's fine. You know, just no one needs to hear about it. I always find it interesting. Most people that are, they're more verbally noticeable or staunch about being talking about how they don't believe in God versus people I know that do believe in God, where they just kind of keep it to themselves and they're quiet. They never like try to convert too many like people or like, but anybody else will, the people like, well, science based, since God never like existed, why? Because he never existed, there was no Christ or whatever. I'm like, fine, whatever, just, but if like, as long as you're not hurting anybody, I know this cliche term, just believe what you want to believe, but I really do believe it. It gets, especially as you get older, it gets more and more tiring. You either go hardcore Fox News, right, where you need to be heard all the time and posted it on your Facebook till you get taken down, or you're just like me. I guess I'm more agnostic, like I said, and I just kind of I'm curious, but whatever. It doesn't. We don't need to be controversial about it anymore. I think it's just do whatever you want to do. I just as long as you're not telling me about it, and as long as it's not one of them fucking, healing crystal, Reiki, you know, dream catcher bullshit. You know what I'm talking about? Fucking liberal, middle-aged white women with yoga mats. But like, anyways, going back, um, with my grandmother, we like when we were younger, my mom and dad, they were busting their ass off. And I know I'm going down memory lane a lot, but just whatever. Um, they were trying to like, work their asses off to become middle class. So didn't really have much time to hang out with us after school. And so like my brother and I, we had to go to daycare and but when we were younger, summertime, no school. So we always had to go to grandmother's house. And again, Bibles everywhere. You know, I just remember Channel 21, TBN, the Trinity Broadcasting Network. It was just these preachers, and just one was a guy named Benny Hinn, I think, Benny Hinn, and there was some woman who was just caked in makeup. Like they had these golden chairs, like golden wooden throne chairs, and like there's a big, huge, like golden wooden cross. And this woman was like, "And I just want to let you guys know we're praying for you." And she had like, it was like a clown. I started laughing. My grandmother's like looked at me like, "Why are you laughing at her?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Grandma. I thought that. Oh, we're supposed to take her seriously. Okay, all right, I got you. Like, yeah. Did you not notice? It's like Ringling Brothers over here. The circus is in town. I mean, this. Okay, whatever. So, but we only watched that, and that was the only thing was out on channel the TV for. She was watching all the time. She was a big woman. Mobility was not her her thing. So bless her heart, but she did mean well. But like it was either that or Love Connection, which again, I don't whatever. And again, my brother and I, we're kids. We just want to like we're little boys. We're like I don't know, maybe 7, 8. But like we had our Legos, Army Men, and just to get some TV time. Like you wanted to watch GI Joe or geez, I'll take Care Bears at this point over the fucking shit she was trying to, I mean, it was really mundane, but it's your summertime. And, you know, she lived like in an apartment complex that had like the pool was filled up with dirt. Like it was out of action. And I just remembered like having a toy kit, like metal toys and figurines, but it was a construction worker thing. So like yellow, like little orange cones and like a yellow bulldozer. Like when I think about it, I don't know why I was so fascinated by a union job that paid good. Maybe I saw the future in a way. Uh, but yeah, usually most kids wouldn't want to play with that. I did have my other like guns and toys, but at that moment, I remember that summer I had those toys, and it was hot outside, and she had like one air conditioner, and it was in her bedroom, so it was in the living room. And anyways, it was nonstop telling us about God and preaching to us about Christ. And I'll be honest, my brain was just not. I think it was difficult for her, but again, you're young, you're fidgety, you don't. It's summertime. Why am I listening about Jesus Christ or like this morbid, situation of a guy barely wearing anything, has a huge beard and long hair, nailed to a thing called the cross, which I didn't know what that was. And again, it's my brother and I was like, okay, we like nodding our heads, okay, you know. Later, she was more or less. She did have some issues with, and I'm being serious here, a little bit of some schizophrenia stuff going on, which I didn't want to believe at the time. But and she had a very nice tone voice, like she was very um very personable when you met her. And but also just the thing with God, it was a little bit weird. But that doesn't. I don't want to paint this in like a different light. That like all people are. I know this is really ironic. People who believe in God are all nuts or whatever. I don't. That's not what I think it is. I think it does. I think there is a formula there for. It makes great for like a family life, and later on, I would pretty much meet other people and go to like a Christian church way after my grandmother was out of the picture. And I kind of like, was driven away from it, but there is something, I can see the value in it. Just like some people have the value of like, Sunday watching the football game, it means something to them. Um, to a certain degree. Obviously those two, it's something to do for some people, but I think that's probably like a bad analogy there with the football, but it does mean something in somebody's life. And if it does, then he or she, just, yeah, God go with you. I mean, it's really rough out there these days. And for everybody, I could see why believing God would be more important now than ever. I mean, and when like Google and Amazon are shutting down, like these are the ones you thought were unstoppable. Like it's trickling down bad across the board these days, and I can totally see a lot of pain and misery out there. And some people go a different route. People more retreat into the video games and anime or whatever, do this whole stuff. I mean, just some people do different lifestyles and just, they don't want to just dilute it. I don't know. I think other countries outside America deal with it better. I think they're not, they don't, I always look forward. Not forward. I always look up to more the blue collar people around the world, whether it be like South America, South Africa, Vietnam, Asia. So it's guys who don't have the luxury of, thinking about going to a online therapy and getting a scented candle and, talk to somebody 1 hour a day about, how, they feel that they've been wronged in life and, the good news about them buying a kitten or something at the store. Like I wish I could travel more. If I had the money, I'd definitely travel more. And I wouldn't travel just to more of like the touristy like tropical places. Um, it's just something I mean that I would love to as well. But I just out of curiosity, I would love to go to places that just kind of out of the way, and see what you're doing. What's your life like? What's an average person's life like? I don't want to see the rich mansions or shit like that. Not so much anymore. I am kind of curious about like you know, some guy in Osaka, Japan or something, like a fisherman or a fishing village or something like that. Just kind of like get an idea of what they're about and um, without the pretentiousness of what, most people like to think it is. Or, Eastern Europe, I love to go to like Hungary and Budapest. I love this. There's so much architecture that's beautiful, but at the same time, it's very rugged. You know, the people over there are very uh, you appreciate at the time. These guys are like they're cold, you know, asshole looking kind of stares on their face, where it's just like they don't want to smile ever. And it's like, well, what is it? I don't know what that's about, But you learn later. It's just, well, I look silly. It's an embarrassment. Do you respect your family and your family's name? Would you ever like just act like a goofball or whatever for no reason? Like, huh? It's it's all about perception, right? Yeah, I was curious though. If I get this new job, does that mean like if I don't? I was just thinking about the company I worked for before. Like, so it's like a year since I had the sexual harassment training. If I get this new job, this new company, that working at another warehouse for like dental parts, like, does that mean I get to play stupid between you and me? I was thinking about bringing my water thermos on there, and like I already have a couple of stickers on there. Like one has like a sticker from Matt and Shane's Secret Podcast because respect. I love Shane Gillis. Um, and I was thinking, and I also was. I mean, I do have some like access to some you know nude females sticker decal to put on there. And I was thinking about just like bringing that to work with my lunch and putting in the refrigerator. And during lunchtime, just like breaking that out and going to the break room. Um, maybe even, well, no, you can't really do that. I mean, I'm kind of half joking, but I do wonder how much I can get away with just for playing stupid, just to play a mongoloid in life. Um, I mean, let's I'm a quarter tard on my dad's side, so it's not really far from the truth. But at the same time, it's kind of like, just using it for my advantage. I want to make friends. Hopefully, it's a work environment where, everybody's kind of like relaxed and chill. At this point in my life, at my age, I don't want to like make friends, but you do want to connect with those people where if something like, you know, um, a fuck or a shit slips out of your mouth by just happenstance, which I do that a lot when I'm trying to like learn something if I don't figure it out immediately. And that could be, I mean, anything work wise, relationships, getting the wrong, you know, flavor of something of ice cream at the store where it's chocolate chip, not chocolate chip cookie dough, and getting pissed off about that. Yeah, that's neither here nor there, but yeah, I mean, I wonder if you guys have like after a while, how much do you just play the system in your job and your career because you're not you're obviously tired of it, but like you really just want to get the max of for you and not for like the work. What do they call that? Quiet quitting now or something? But I'm not even talking about that. Like you should if the job's pretty plain straightforward then whatever. But definitely just trying to like oh, if I can get away with a couple more minutes on my lunch or a couple more minutes just kind of sleeping or taking a nap in your car. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was thinking, yeah, I'm it's a warehouse, so I was just thinking about like I guess it's a good thing. I won't have a like sexual harassment won't be a problem for me because those are usually there's females in that kind of like the oh right now there's somebody saying, well, you don't know there's attractive females again. We're like never in my entire except maybe once in my entire life did I ever meet a female, and I didn't even work with her. I was like met her at a place where like a bar situation, and we're just talking about careers or whatever, and there's one girl that worked at Mercedes, like, and she was like an 8 out of 10. And um, I asked what she does. She's like, oh yeah, so like I put the tires back on of the car. I was like, oh, you work in the service part, like the service part of the car dealership, not like because you look like somebody that should be selling the car. Like you're really wicked hot. Like this doesn't make any. Anyways, that's just like that's a like a UFO Sasquatch. No, most of the women I've met are very butch looking, and um it just is. I mean, it's not like, but like I've said before, you can be in those situations where somebody who's mildly attractive, and then time grows on you, and it's like, oh yeah, she's really hot. It's like, it's there's a world outside of work, and then you realize it's not true. But yeah, helps the day go by. You can't even flirt anymore, not even a little bit. Although girls can flirt with you and give you the mixed signals, which is always, and I don't mean like, like a lot of guys like, oh man, she was totally, flirting with me. You see the way she was looking at me? She said hi to you. I bet you think strippers really like you too, don't you? It's like, don't be a moron like that. But there are certain things of like, oh yeah, we're gonna go see a movie this weekend. I was thinking about seeing this one, this whatever. I'm like, oh, okay. And then followed by putting her hand into her hair and like brushing it behind her ear or something like that. I don't know. It's off and on. I've had hit or miss in that department. A lot of misses, but that was from a long time. You learn over time again if you're not too much of a moron. But I doubt this is like a job that I'm gonna be too worried about to keep. But at the same time, you don't want to be, um, you know, Jeffrey Dahmer in the workplace, or just any other kind of creepy uh, guy. But yeah, but it is funny these days. You worry about like just if you look in the wrong direction. Literally, if you stare too long, you might get in trouble. Even though it's just like not that was it's just always miscommunication or misunderstood. So yeah, I don't know. Let's hope that I find, or you guys find a better work situation. It's getting really bad out there, man. I'm the news lately is just nothing but more and more layoffs, more and more cutbacks, just and the big time companies too. I mean, not just tech anymore, just um, you know, just the sales part, like vendors like the Walmart and the Amazon shit. They're shutting down shop or they're cutting back. So I don't know, man. It's gonna snowball into some kind of like big recession. I thought that's what was gonna happen last October. I thought there was really gonna be um, kind of one of those um, deals. I mean, one of the things I've noticed is like, uh, 1988, there was Trump, that Trump documentary. There was about, the stock market crash of 88. And then in 1998, I remember that one, October, around the same time. And then 2008, I remember that shit when, Bush was leaving and Obama was coming in, and, again, fucking crash, went down. So, um, I don't know, man. I'm not like a conspiracy theorist when I'm trying to like, but maybe there's a pattern to some things. I don't know. I want to be the right end of that. I want to be part of the Illuminati, but I don't know, man. If they run into me, I'll definitely, yeah, man. I mean, I'll do anything for salary these days, man. Any kind of a better position or something like that, Um, yeah.